Dawn breaks over the dense jungle fringe of the Drang Valley, South Vietnam. It's November 14th, 1965, exactly 6:47 a.m. 5 American soldiers from the 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry Regiment, cut off, ammo low, surrounded by North Vietnamese regulars, drop their weapons one by one. No shots fired, no resistance. They're outnumbered 10-1, with enemy troops closing in from 3 sides. Just 50 yards away through the elephant grass, the air hangs heavy with the smell of wet earth and cordite from the night before. In seconds, hands go up, rifles hit the mud. But for one man among them, that surrender feels like a trap waiting to snap shut. What's coming next could end them all. Executions in the field, or worse, dragged into the jungle for interrogation that breaks bodies and minds. The odds scream death. Over 200 enemy fighters in the immediate area, 0 extraction choppers inbound, and the valley already littered with the bodies of 50 GIs from the first wave. We pull back from that razor-edge moment, rewind 3 days, meet Sergeant Elias Kane, 28 years old, from a dusty farm town outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. Kane grew up fixing tractors and hunting deer in the Ozarks. His dad was a World War II vet, lost a leg at Anzio, but never talked much about it. Kane enlisted at 18, straight out of high school, because the draft notice came anyway, and he figured he'd rather choose his fight. By 65, he's on his 2nd tour in Vietnam. First one was 63, humping patrols along the Mekong Delta. Kane's the kind of soldier who checks his gear twice, shares his rations without asking, and keeps his squad laughing during the endless rain. He's steady, not flashy. The man who spots the tripwire before it blows. Kane's no stranger to the grind. Back in 64, during a river ambush near Ben Tre, his platoon got pinned down by a VC mortar team, shells raining in every 20 seconds, turning the bank into a cratered mess. Kane's radioman took shrapnel to the leg, screaming, blood soaking the deck. Under that fire, Kane dragged him 40 yards to cover, then crawled forward alone to flank the mortar position. He took out 2 gunners with his M16, bursts of 3 rounds each, before the rest scattered. That day, 12 dead on their side, but his quick call saved the platoon from total wipeout. Medics patched him up for a graze on the shoulder, but Kane waved off the Purple Heart paperwork. "Just doing the job," he said. "That's Kane. Decisions in the dirt. No second guessing." Fast forward to the build-up in the Ia Drang. The 1st Cav's air assault into the valley kicks off on the 14th, but Kane's squad, 5 men total, including him, gets detached for recon on the 11th. They're scouting a suspected NVA supply trail near the Chupong Massif, a hulking ridge that looms like a green wall. Private Ramirez, the kid from LA, 19 and green as the vines. Corporal Hale, wiry medic from Boston. Lance Corporal Sykes, the heavy weapons guy with a scarred face from a stateside bar fight. And Private Ellis, quiet farm boy like Kane, but jumpy. They're lightly armed, M16s, a couple grenades, 1 radio with spotty battery. Orders are simple: observe, report, don't engage unless cornered. By midday on the 13th, things sour. They're pushing through bamboo thickets when Sykes steps on a punji stake, poisoned bamboo spike hidden under leaves. It slices his boot clean. Infection sets in fast. Hale patches him, but they're moving slow now, exposed. Night falls and the jungle comes alive. Distant gunfire echoes from the main landing zone. Higgins' heroes holding the perimeter against waves of NVA. Kane's group holds up in a ravine, but by 2 a.m. patrols close in. Whispers in Vietnamese, the click of AKs being readied. They hunker down, hearts pounding against the damp earth. Kane whispers orders. "Stay low, no noise." A flare pops overhead, bathing everything in white light. Shadows shift. Enemy scouts 30 yards out. One wrong move, and it's over. Morning of the 14th brings the hammer. The valley erupts. From their position, They hear the thump of artillery, the roar of Huey's dropping troops, but Kane's squad is isolated, cut off by swelling enemy lines. NVA regulars, battle-hardened, moving like ghosts, flank them from the east. Bullets zip past at 10:15 a.m., forcing a retreat into denser cover. Ramirez takes a round to the arm, grazing flesh but enough to slow him. Kane binds it with a strip from his shirt, eyes scanning for escape. "We link up or we die separate," he mutters. They push west, but the trail dead ends at a swollen creek. By noon, ammo's down to 20 rounds per man. Hale's morphine kit is half empty from Sykes's fever. The tension coils tighter. Afternoon brings a lull, but it's false. Kane climbs a termite mound for a view, smoke rising from the LZ, where Moore's battalion fights tooth and nail. Reports crackle over the radio. 100 enemy dead, but they're pouring in more. Kane's group evades 2 probes, slipping through undergrowth like hunted animals. Sweat stings eyes, leeches cling to legs. Ellis mutters about home, but Kane shuts it down. Focus on the next step. Dusk hits, and they're cornered near a bomb crater from some earlier strike. NVA voices surround them, dozens, closing the noose. Hale suggests surrender. Sykes nods, pain clouding his judgment. Ramirez, clutching his arm, agrees. Ellis looks to Kane, eyes wide. Kane weighs it. They've seen what happens to captured GIs, torture camps, or quick ends with a bayonet. But fighting now means all 5 dead in minutes. He lowers his M16 first, a signal. The others follow. Hands up, they step into the open at 6:47 a.m. on the 15th. No, wait, the clock ticks back to that frozen dawn. NVA troops emerge, rifles trained, faces hard under boonie hats. One shouts orders in broken English, "Down, hands!" They kneel in the mud, zip ties biting wrists. The absurdity hits. 5 men, elite cavalry, giving up without a shot in a war that's already claimed hundreds in this valley alone. But Kane's mind races, his pocket knife taped under his boot sole, untouched in the pat-down. Eyes lock on the enemy lieutenant. Pistol holstered loose. Something shifts inside Kane. Surrenders just the pause. The strike's coming. The NVA lieutenant steps forward, his boots squelching in the mud. He's short, stocky, with a thin mustache and eyes like chipped flint. He barks something in Vietnamese, and 2 soldiers grab Kane by the arms, yanking him to his feet. The zip ties cut deeper into his wrists. Kane doesn't flinch. He scans the group. 20 NVA now visible, AK-47s slung low, some with RPGs across their backs. The air's thick with diesel from a distant truck and the metallic tang of gun oil. They march the 5 Americans out of the crater, single file, hands bound. Sykes stumbles first, his infected foot dragging. An NVA private shoves him forward with the butt of his rifle. Hale, the medic, mutters under his breath, "Easy, man." But Sykes just grunts, sweat pouring down his scarred face. Ramirez clutches his bandaged arm, teeth gritted. Ellis keeps his head down, breathing shallow. Kane brings up the rear, eyes on the trail ahead. The jungle swallows them quick, vines slapping at legs, branches clawing shirts. No words from the captors, just the crunch of boots and occasional radio static from the lieutenant's pack. 2 miles in, they hit a clearing, an NVA camp, makeshift but solid. Poncho tents, ammo crates stacked like walls, a cook fire smoldering with rice bubbling in pots, guards at the edges, maybe 50 troops total, cleaning weapons or sharpening bayonets. The Americans get shoved to the ground near a bamboo cage, half-built, spiked at the bottom. Water drips from the canopy, pooling around their knees. The lieutenant circles them, pistol drawn now, a Tokarev with a worn grip. He stops in front of Kane, tilts his head. "You, leader." His English is rough, accented, thick. Kane meets his gaze. "Sergeant." That's all. No fear in his voice, just facts. He's been here before, not captured, but close. That 64 ambush by the river flashes in his mind. The mortar blasts shaking the earth, his radio man screams cutting through the roar. Kane had held steady then too, pulled the man to safety while rounds chewed the dirt around him. This This is just another bad spot. The lieutenant smirks, holsters the pistol loose again. He nods to his men. They start the pat-down proper. Rough hands rifling pockets, boots, even shaking out socks. Kane feels the tape under his boot sole hold. The knife stays hidden, a 3-inch blade from his dad's old kit, edge-honed sharp back in base camp. One guard yanks at Kane's dog tags, reads them aloud. Elias Kane. Blood type O. Laughter ripples through the group. They strip the others bare. Wallets, photos, cigarettes tossed into the fire. Ramirez's lucky charm, a silver cross from his mom, gets snapped in half. He winces, but says nothing. Night falls fast in the valley. They cram the 5 into the cage, knees to chests, the spikes jabbing if you shift wrong. Sykes moans low, fever burning him up. Hale whispers, "Hang on, they'll medevac us eventually." But the radio's gone, smashed under a boot earlier. Outside, the camp buzzes. Soldiers sharing cigarettes, cleaning rifles by lantern light. Distant booms from the main battle echo, artillery shaking the ground every few minutes. Kane listens, counts the intervals. 3 miles off, maybe less. Moore's boys are still fighting. He thinks back to his first tour, 63, patrolling the Delta, knee-deep in rice paddies. One night, VC sappers blew a bridge behind them. Platoon cut off, 30 men against an unknown force. Kane was point man then, 21 and raw. He spotted the enemy flankers first, silhouettes in the moonlight, creeping through the mangroves. No time for radio. He signaled halt, then led a silent counter. 6 men, knives out, closing the gap. They took out 4 before the alarm went up. Gunfire erupted. But Kane's call brought them the bridge back. Lost 2 that night, but the rest made it to extraction. Captain pinned a bronze star on him, quiet-like, no ceremony. Kane just nodded. Kept moving. That instinct hums now, low in his gut. The cage smells of rot and sweat. Ellis shifts, whispers, "Sarge, what if they march us north? Heard stories, camps up there, no one comes back." Kane keeps his voice even. 1 hour at a time, watch for openings. Ramirez nods faint, but Sykes is fading, head lolling. Hale tears a strip from his own sleeve, soaks it in spit to cool Sykes's forehead. Midnight brings rain, sheets of it pounding the canopy. The NVA huddle under tarps, but the guards stay posted. 2 at the cage, rifles ready. Lightning cracks. Lighting the lieutenant's tent 20 yards off. He's inside, mapping something by candle. Kane tests the zip ties, wrists raw but give a fraction. The knife's close, if he can reach it. He remembers Anzio stories from his dad, not the leg, but the nights in foxholes waiting for the next wave. "Patience kills more than bullets," Dad said once, over beers. Kane gets it now. Dawn creeps in grey, rain easing to drizzle. The camp stirs, orders shouted, crates loaded onto bikes with sidecars. They're moving out, linking with a bigger unit. The lieutenant emerges, buckling his web gear. He points at the cage. "Up! March!" Soldiers haul them out, cut the ties only to rebind hands behind backs. Sykes needs help standing, Hale supporting him. The column forms, 60 NVA now, bikes revving, porters with mortars slung. Kane's placed mid-pack, between Ramirez and a guard with a bayoneted SKS. They push north, trail narrowing to single file. Jungle presses in, roots tripping feet. Flies buzz thick, landing on wounds. 2 hours in, the pace quickens. Sykes falters again, drops to one knee. The guard kicks him once, twice. Sykes hits the mud, groaning. Hale steps forward. He's sick. Needs... A rifle butt cracks his ribs, dropping him too. Kane tenses, muscles coiling. The lieutenant turns, watches. "Weak, leave them." No, not on his watch. Kane's boot scrapes the dirt deliberate, feeling the tape, heart steady, like those Delta nights. The column halts brief, scouts ahead radioing back. Enemy contact maybe. The lieutenant draws his Tokarev, scans the trees. His holster gapes empty now. Kane shifts weight, eyes locked on that gap, 5 feet away. The rain starts again, light masking steps. Ramirez catches his glance, understands. Ellis, too. Sykes stirs. Hale coughs blood. The moment hangs. NVA chatter rises, urgent, pointing east, distraction. Kane's hand twists slow behind him. The strike builds, inevitable as the next boom from the valley. One decision under pressure he's faced before. Chaos waits, but so does the opening. The column freezes on the narrow trail, vines hanging like curtains in the drizzle. NVA scouts ahead wave urgently, their voices sharp over the radio crackle. "Contact! American patrol! East flank!" The lieutenant spins, Tokarev in hand, barking orders. Troops fan out, rifles snapping up toward the tree line. Bikes idle low, engines rumbling. The distraction hits like a gift. Eyes off the prisoners, focus split. Kane doesn't hesitate. His bound hands work the zip tie behind his back, fingers numb but precise from years of knot tying on the farm. The tape under his boot sole gives with a faint rip. He bends his knee slow, like adjusting for a cramp, and the knife slides free. 3 inches of steel, handle wrapped in electrical tape for grip. It fits his palm perfect, edge catching the dim light. Heart pounds steady, not wild. He's done this math before. The '64 river fight. Closing on those mortar gunners. Knife in one hand, M16 in the other. Distance then was 15 yards. Now it's 5 feet to the lieutenant's back. Ramirez shifts beside him, eyes flicking to Kane's boot. He gets it, no words needed. The kid from LA nods once, subtle. Ellis, ahead, tenses his shoulders. Hale props Sykes against a root, the big man's face pale, sweat mixing with rain. The guard with the bayoneted SKS stands 2 paces off, peering east, oblivious. Kane exhales slow. The rain patters louder, drowning small sounds. Jungle birds scatter from the noise ahead. First shots crack distant. Pop, pop, pop from M16s meeting AK fire. Kane lunges, 1 step, boot silent in mud. The knife arcs low, under the lieutenant's arm. It sinks into the man's side between ribs, twist quick to hit lung. The officer gasps, Tokarev dropping as he claws at the wound. Blood sprays hot on Kane's wrist. He yanks the blade free, pivots to the guard. The SKS swings toward him. But Kane's faster, slash across the throat, clean and deep. The man gurgles, rifle clattering as he drops. Chaos erupts. NVA heads snap back, shouts in Vietnamese, "Phan Boi, Giet Chung." Rifles rise, but the distraction holds. More gunfire east, closer now, maybe 200 yards. Bullets whip through leaves, one thunking into a tree trunk nearby. Ramirez dives for the fallen SKS, fumbles the bayonet loose with bound hands. He stabs wild at a porter lunging from the side, the man howling as the blade catches his leg. Ellis kicks out at another guard, boot to knee, buying seconds. Kane grabs the Tokarev from the mud, thumb off the safety. 2 shots, double tap to an NVA corporal charging center mass. The body jerks, falls forward. "Run!" Kane yells, voice cutting through the din. He slashes Sykes' ties with the knife, then hails. The medic hauls Sykes up, arm over shoulder. "Go! Go!" Bullets zip past, one grazing Kane's sleeve, tearing fabric but no skin. He fires again, covering their retreat. 3 rounds into the brush where troops cluster. The squad bolts north, deeper into the trail's twist. No, wait. Kane redirects. West. Toward the creek. The original creek dead-end, but its cover, and the American fires pulling enemies east. Branches whip faces, roots snag boots. Sykes stumbles, but Hale drags him, grunting with effort. Ramirez clutches the SKS, firing blind over his shoulder. Crack, crack, dropping a pursuer who gets too close. Ellis pants behind, eyes wild but moving. NVA pursuit closes fast. 10, maybe 15. Breaking from the main group, the lieutenant's down, but his second waves them on, RPG launcher on shoulder. Whoosh! A rocket streaks past, exploding 20 yards left, shrapnel peppering the air. Kane dives, rolls, comes up firing the Tokarev. Click, empty. He tosses it, knife back in hand. "Keep low!" The jungle thickens, bamboo groves offering slivers of hide. They crash through, leeches and thorns ignored. 5 minutes in, lungs burning, they hit a ravine, steep drop to a stream, water rushing brown from rain. Kane signals halt, pushes them down the bank. Mud slides underfoot, slick as grease. Sykes slips. Hale catches him barely. At the bottom, they crouch behind boulders, breaths ragged, gunfire echoes above, NVA voices cursing, boots pounding the edge. A grenade sails down, bounces off rock, explodes upstream. Water sprays, but no hits. Kane scans up. 3 enemies visible, peering over. He points to Ramirez. "Cover me!" The kid nods, levels the SKS. Kane climbs, silent as he can, knife ready. One hand over hand, mud-caking fingers. He reaches the lip, waits for Ramirez's burst, rat-tat-tat, drawing eyes. Then Kane surges, grabs the nearest NVA by the collar, yanks him down silent, knife to neck. The body tumbles past, splashing. The other 2 spin, but Ramirez nails one, headshot clean. The last fires wild, bullet chipping stone near Kane's head. They scramble up, grab the dead man's AK, full mag, 30 rounds. Kane slings it, checks the chamber. "Move! They're calling reinforcements." The squad pushes on west now, paralleling the stream. Sykes' fever slows them, but adrenaline carries. Hale binds a fresh cut on his own arm from shrapnel, no complaint. Ellis whispers, "Thought we were done back there." Kane just nods. "Not yet." An hour grinds by, jungle unrelenting, heat rising with the sun, steam off leaves. They evade 2 more patrols, slipping into thickets when voices near. Kane's mind ticks like a clock. Ammo low again, Sykes fading, but the valley's booms grow fainter behind. American lines hold, maybe advancing. He remembers the Delta Bridge night. After the knife work, they'd run till dawn, linking with a road patrol. Lost men, but survived. This feels the same. Pressure building, decisions stacking. Noon hits, sun-piercing canopy. They hole up in a hollow log, big as a truck, termites buzzing inside. Sykes collapses, breathing shallow. Hale checks him. Infection's bad. Needs antibiotics. Kane rations the last water, 1 sip each. Distant rotors, Huey's or wishful. NVA trucks rumble north, miles off but closing the net. Kane wipes the knife clean on his pant leg. The strike worked, bought time. But the war's not done with them. Scouts could circle back any minute. He posts watch, eyes on the trail. Patience, like Dad said. The next move waits, tension coiling tighter. One wrong step, and it's all over. But Kane's steady, always has been. The sun climbs higher, turning the jungle into a steam bath. Sweat soaks through Kane's fatigues, mixing with mud and blood from the morning's cuts. Inside the hollow log, the air's stale, thick with the rot of decaying wood and Sykes' labored breaths. Hale kneels beside him, pressing a damp cloth to the big man's forehead. Sykes' skin's hot to the touch, veins standing out like cords on his neck. "He's burning up," Hale says, voice low. "That pungy's poison's deep. If we don't get him clear soon, it'll take him." Kane crouches at the log's end, AK cradled across his knees. He peers through a crack in the bark, eyes tracing the trail 20 yards out. No movement yet, but the jungle's too quiet. No birds, no insects buzzing normal. That's a sign. NVA patrols move silent, but they stir the undergrowth just the same. Ramirez sits opposite, SKS across his lap, finger off the trigger like Kane taught him back in base camp. The kid's arm bandage is dark with fresh blood, but his eyes stay sharp. Ellis huddles near the entrance, hands still bound loose from the escape. Kane cut them earlier with the knife. He wipes his face, leaves a streak of grime. "Sarge, those rotors we heard, think it's our guys?" Kane shakes his head once. "Could be. Or theirs. Save your breath." He's counting minutes in his head. 2 hours since the ravine fight. They've put distance, maybe 3 miles west, but the valley's a maze. Drang stretches wide, NVA regiments pouring in from the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Reports from the radio scraps before capture Moore's 1st Battalion holding X-ray landing zone, but casualties mounting, 79 dead already, hundreds wounded. Kane's squad? Ghosts now, off the books. No one's coming specific for them. It's on him to thread the needle. A twig snaps outside, sharp in the hush. Kane signals, freeze. They all go still, breaths held. Through the crack, shadows shift. 2 NVA trackers, rucksacks light, one with a dog on a leash. The animal sniffs the air, nose low to the ground. It pauses 30 yards out, ears pricking. Kane's grip tightens on the AK. 30 rounds left, plus Ramirez's half mag. Not enough for a stand, but enough to buy run time. The dog whines soft, tugging the leash toward the log. The lead tracker kneels, fingers sifting dirt. He spots the boot print. Kane's from their entry. Mutters something low. Points. Up. Kane whispers. No time for quiet exit. He rolls out first, AK up, squeezing off 2 rounds. Controlled bursts. One into the dog, one clipping the nearest tracker's shoulder. The man spins, clutching his arm. As the animal yelps and drops, the second tracker dives behind a stump, firing wild. AK chatter rips the air, bullets splintering bark inches from Kane's head. Splinters sting his cheek. He drops low, rolls to cover behind a fallen trunk. Ramirez bursts out next, SKS barking. 3 shots. One hits the wounded tracker square in the chest. He slumps, rifle clattering. Ellis and Hale haul Sykes, the big man groaning as they drag him into the brush. Go! Kane covers, popping up to fire again. The surviving tracker breaks, radioing frantic as he runs north. Kane nails him in the back at 40 yards, the body tumbling into ferns. But the call's out, reinforcements inbound. West, double time, Kane orders, slinging the AK. They crash through the undergrowth, Sykes's weight slowing them to a stagger. Branches claw at faces, vines snag legs. Hale's breathing hard, ribs bruised from the earlier butt stroke. Can't keep this up. He's dead weight. Kane glances back, smoke trail from the log, maybe a flare signal. Tie him if you have to. We're not leaving him. That's the line he draws, same as in the Delta. Back then, after the bridge sapper attack, a wounded private slowed the platoon. Kane carried him 2 miles himself, rounds snapping overhead, until choppers lit the sky. The kid lived, sent home with a story. Sykes? Farm boy like him, scarred but solid. No one gets ditched on his watch. They push an hour, sun beating down, steam rising off the ground. The trail forks, north to enemy lines, south toward the creek they'd hit before. Kane chooses south, memory sharp, shallow water, good for masking tracks. But Sykes falters hard, collapsing against a banyan root. His eyes flutter, skin grey. Hale checks pulse, weak, thready. Lost too much, needs IV now. Ramirez scouts ahead, comes back shaking his head. Voices! Sarge. Patrol closing from the east. Kane wipes sweat, tastes salt and iron from a split lip. Numbers stack against them. 5 men, 1 critical, ammo down to 15 rounds total. NVA in the valley? Thousands now, per the last radio bursts. 7th and 66th regiments hammering Moore's position. Their little escape? A blip, but one that draws heat. He thinks of his dad again, the Anzio leg lost to a mine. But the old man walking on a peg till 70. Endure, he'd say. Kane endures. He tears a strip from his own shirt, binds Sykes' foot tighter. Hale, give him the last morphine. Ramirez, Ellis, eyes out. The patrol sounds closer, boots crunching, low talk in Vietnamese. 6, maybe 8, by the voices. Kane positions them. Ravine edge. 10 feet drop to the creek. He and Ramirez low on the lip, rifles ready. Ellis helps Hale ease Sykes down first, then follows. Water splashes soft as they hit bottom. Kane waits, counts breaths. The NVA crest the rise, spread loose, fatigue soaked, one with a radio pack. They spot the disturbed earth, fan out searching. Kane fires first, single shot, head on the leader. The man drops like a sack. Panic hits the rest. They spray the brush, bullets chewing leaves and dirt. Ramirez adds fire, SKS chattering short, 2 down, writhing, but one flanks left, grenade in hand. Kane shifts, nails him with a burst to the legs. The pin's pulled, but the throw's short. Blast rocks the ground 5 yards out, dirt raining. Shrapnel pings off rocks, one fragment slicing Ellis's calf as he climbs back up to help. "Suppress!" Kane yells. Emptying the AK mag, 5 rounds, 3 hits. The last 2 NVA break, one dragging the other. Silence falls, broken only by the creek's rush. Kane reloads from the dead leader's belt. Fresh mag, 30 rounds. But Sykes is worse. Hale's injecting the morphine, needle shaking in his hand. That'll hold him 20 minutes tops. Ramirez binds Ellis's leg, blood seeping through fingers. "They're on to us now. Every shot's a beacon." Kane nods, scanning the horizon. Sun dips toward afternoon, shadows lengthening. Distant artillery thumps, American guns, walking fire toward the Chupong. Moors pushing back, maybe gaining ground. But here, in this pocket, the noose tightens. They've struck once, escaped the cage, but each move costs. Sykes moans faint, eyes unfocused. Kane sheathes the knife, feels its weight. Decisions under fire, that's his edge. The 64 flank on the mortar team, he'd crawled 50 yards alone, breath held, then struck silent. Saved the platoon. Now, same math, higher stakes. They move again, paralleling the creek south. Water to the ankles, mud sucking boots. Flies swarm Sykes' wound, Hale swatting them off. An hour in, rotors return, thump thump low. Huey's sweeping north, American by the pattern. Hope flickers, but Kane stamps it down. "Keep low, could be bait." Ellis limps, but pushes. "Sarge, you think we make the LZ by dark?" "Maybe." Kane's voice stays even. He's faced worse odds, the river ambush, pinned with 12 dead piling up. He'd flanked, decided, survived. This builds on that, tension shifting from capture to evasion. Each close call sharpening the edge. NVA trucks rumble distant, engines straining up a grade. Reinforcements for the valley fight, but scouts fan wide. One wrong turn, and they hit the main force. Dusk creeps in, purple light filtering through leaves. They hole up in a thicket, bamboo walled like a foxhole. Sykes sleeps fitful, morphine dulling the pain. Hale rations the last rations, crackers. Hard as stone. Ramirez cleans his SKS, hands steady now. Ellis watches the sky, tracers arcing far off, night battle starting at X-ray. Kane posts first watch back to a trunk, AK across chest. The jungle cools, but the pressure doesn't. Radio-static whispers from a dead NVA pack they scavenged. Fragments of orders, coordinates closing in. 2 miles east, patrols converging. He tests the knife again, edge still keen. The strikes echoed, but the war demands more. Sykes stirs, mutters about home. Kane quiets him gentle, patience holds, but the coil tightens. Dawn brings the real test. Link up or get swallowed. No room for doubt. Just the next step, inevitable as the shots echoing closer. Night falls heavy over the thicket. Stars punching through gaps in the canopy like distant flares. The air cools, but sweat clings, mixing with the metallic scent of blood and gunpowder. Kane shifts on watch, AK balanced on his knee, barrel pointed toward the trail. The scavenged radio pack hums faint static beside him. NVA chatter clipped and urgent. Coordinates ping close, patrols tightening the loop. 2 miles east, but closing. He estimates 30 men now hunting them, bikes and trucks feeding the search. Sykes's breaths rasp shallow from the bamboo wall, each one a reminder of the cost. Ramirez relieves him at midnight, eyes hollow but alert. Kane catches 2 hours of shut-eye, dreams flashing quick. The river in 64, mortar craters bubbling, his hands slick with mud and a buddy's blood. He wakes to Hale's whisper, dawn light graying the leaves. Movement, Sarge, south trail. They pack silent, knife sheathed, ammo checked, 25 rounds in the AK, 10 in the SKS. Sykes stirs, eyes glassy from fever. Hale slings him piggyback, the medic's frame straining under the weight. "I'll manage." Ellis binds his calf tighter, winces, but nods ready. They slip out single file. Greek to their left, masking steps in shallow splashes. Jungle stirs alive, monkeys chattering overhead. A warning. Kane leads, knife in one hand, AK slung. The plan's simple. Push south 2 miles to the valley edge, signal any Huey patrol. Odds? Slim. NVA control the ridges, but Moors fight at X-ray ranges. Artillery booms rolling like thunder, closer now. American guns walking fire, maybe cracking the enemy line. Half a mile in, the trap springs. NVA ambush, flankers hidden in the bamboo, 6 strong, RPGs primed. The lead scout steps out 20 yards ahead, AK up. "Halt!" Broken English, then Vietnamese shouts. Bullets crack first, stitching the trail. Kane dives right into ferns, rolling as rounds chew the earth. Ramirez hits the deck. SKS firing blind, pop-pop, nailing the scout in the leg. The man screams, dropping, but the RPG whooshes, rockets slamming the creek bank 10 yards back. Blast wave hits like a hammer, shrapnel slicing air. Hale stumbles, Sykes slipping from his back into the mud. Water sprays hot. Kane's up, AK barking controlled bursts. 3 rounds, 2 NVA drop, clutching chests, blood blooming on green uniforms. The third flank's left, bayonet fixed, charging Ramirez. The kid rolls, fires point blank, click, jam. He grabs the knife from his belt, Kane's spare, tossed earlier, and slashes up, catching the man's thigh. Blood arcs. The NVA howls, stumbling into the creek. Ramirez finishes with a butt stroke to the head, crack of bone. Psychological hit lands hard. Kane's mind narrows, tunnel vision, sounds sharp. Hale yelling for Sykes, Ellis's panicked breaths, the RPG gunner reloading 15 yards out. Heart steady, but the weight presses, 1 wrong burst, and they're done. He's here again, like the Delta Bridge, knife close, decision instant. He signals Ellis, cover Hale. The farm boy nods, grabs the jammed SKS, clears it rough, fires once, misses but draws fire. The RPG gunner locks eyes on Kane, tube raised. Whoosh, rocket streaks low. Kane lunges sideways, dives behind a banyan root as it explodes 5 feet off. Heat blasts his back, ears ringing, dirt pelting like hail. Shrapnel nicks his arm, warm trickle down sleeve. He pops up, AK empty now, last 3 rounds gone. Knife out, he closes the gap, 5 yards, 4. The gunner swings the empty launcher like a club. Kane ducks, drives the blade into the man's gut, twists short, pulls free as the body sags, gurgling wet. Silence drops, broken by moans. 4 NVA down, 2 crawling wounded. The squad regroups fast. Hale hauls Sykes up, the big man's face slack, pulse faint. He's slipping. Ramirez wipes blood from his face, not his, eyes wide, shaking off the kill. Ellis pants. More coming. Heard whistles. Kane scavenges quick. Fresh AK from the gunner, full mag. South, double. They run. Hale staggering under Sykes. Creek water splashing to knees. Pursuit hits 10 minutes later. Bikes roaring, 20 NVA on foot fanning wide. Engines growl close, tires churning mud. Bullets whip from behind, zipping leaves. Kane turns, fires from the hip. 5 rounds, 2 bikes swerve, riders tumbling. One crashes into a tree, crunch of metal and bone. The squad weaves through bamboo, stalks snapping like whips. Sykes slips again. Hale drops to one knee, exhausted. Can't. Ribs killing me. Kane covers, bursts ripping into the lead pursuers. 3 down, but the bikes circle, one firing an AK from the saddle, rounds stitching the ground. Ellis takes a graze to the shoulder, yelps, keeps moving. Psychological crush builds, no end, just endless green and death closing. Kane's mind flashes Dad's words, patience, but this demands strike after strike. He grabs a grenade from a dead NVA belt earlier, pulls pin, lobs back. Blast echoes, screams follow. Two bikes flip, fire blooming. They break into a clearing. Valley edge, smoke rising from X-ray LZ half a mile south. Hueys circle low, door gunners blazing. American. Hope surges, but NVA close. 15 left. Lieutenant Second shouting orders. He points. There. American pigs. RPG fires again. Rocket arcing toward the clearing. Kane yells, "Down!" They hit dirt as it detonates 30 yards out, ground shaking, flames licking bamboo. Kane rises, AK up. Full auto now, 15 rounds pouring into the pursuers. Bodies jerk. Fall. The second in command charges, pistol drawn. Kane meets him halfway, knife flashing, slash to arm, then throat. Blood sprays, the man drops clutching neck. Last NVA hesitate, then break, melting into jungle. The squad staggers into the open. Sykes collapses, Hale kneeling over him. Ramirez fires signal shots skyward, 3 bursts. A Huey banks hard, spots them, rotors thumping loud. Friendly. "Wave!" Kane shouts, arm up despite the pain. The bird descends, dust devils swirling. Door gunner waves back, M60 silent. Extractions chaos. Ropes dropped. Hale and Sykes winched first. Sykes limp. Hale holding tight. Ramirez and Ellis next, then Kane last. Knife tucked away. The Huey lifts. Valley shrinking below. Bodies strewn. Smoke pillars marking the fight. Drang claims more that day. 305 Americans dead by week's end. Over 500 NVA. Kane's squad? One of 12 escapes chalked to luck and grit. Back at base, medics swarm. Sykes pulled through after surgery, infection cleared, sent stateside with a story he won't tell. Hale gets the Silver Star for dragging him miles, ribs cracked but unbowed. Ramirez and Ellis patched, redeployed quiet. Kane, Bronze Star upgrade, pinned by Moore himself. "You decided when it counted," the colonel says. Kane nods. No speeches. Months later, home in Tulsa, Kane fixes tractors again. The valley fades, but the weight stays. War strips choices bare. One moment, surrender or strike. Courage isn't loud, it's the knife in the boot, the steady hand when the world's closing in. In the end, that's what decides who walks out.